G'day crew, Todd from Toxic Garage Customs. Once again, letting you know that I've dropped another video. This particular one is a little bit different. It's not on the International this time. I'm working on my son's GMC C2500 pickup truck. This truck had some rust, so we're doing some rust repairs on the door. Probably could have got a new door, but in this particular case we decided to fix this one. It's a project, he's learning some skills, I'm having some fun, creating a video. So yeah, this will be a two-part thing. It'll be at least two parts. So yeah, here's the first one. I hope you enjoy it, hope you get something out of it, and let me know if you want to see something else, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks. Okay, so moving along from what I was just doing, and we're going to have a look at this door. This is my son's. It's off his GMC thing. He wants to tell me what it is. I don't know what it is, so it's a GMC thing. It's a big thing with 8 stud wheels, and it's massive is all I know. This door should really be put into land recycling, landfill, whatever. But that's not the case because, number one, it's not within his budget, and number two, hey, where's the fun in just getting something and putting on a good one? Let's go through and see what we can do. So through here we can see there's rust. This is an imported car, and it was imported and found to have a lot of rust. So us being gluttons for punishment, we bought it. He bought it actually. So it looks to me like most of the bottom of this door is going to need replacing. Around here it's pretty beaten here as well. This is the driver's door, so in being an American car it's the left-hand door. So yeah, she's all sort of gone through here, but what we're concentrating on in the first place is that this hinge here, when you open the door, it just drops. So we're trying to get some panel alignment happening with the front guard and bonnet and so on. So we've basically put floors, seals, cab braces. There's not much within the floor area on this vehicle that we haven't replaced. And now we're trying to get some panel alignment happening, and we can't do that while the door wants to fall off when you open it. So we're going to at least repair this, and long term we will repair all this, and we'll probably have a go. We'll dig into it today anyway and see just how bad it is, see how much work we're in for, which we already know is a lot. But also we just found an interesting thing. This car has never been registered in Australia. It was only imported about a year ago. Stripping the door trim off to have a look what's there, and this is on the bottom of the door handle, made in Australia. Now that's just bizarre. I don't get that at all. Do not understand. Nothing has been done to this car since it was brought into Australia other than what we've done. So that's just weird. So if you know anything about why that could be, let me know, because I'd be really curious to know. Did Australia make parts for these cars in America in 1972? Well, it just doesn't seem right to me, but hey, the evidence is there. Anyway, I've got to start hacking into this thing. I'll put you on time lapse. Sam will be in the shots a little bit, and we'll see it comes out, eh? So let's see what's beneath all this junk here. Before we go cutting out this section of door, this thing did hinge before and did close in the right place. It's just that when the door opens, then all the metal just hangs loose. It's obviously been damaged and repaired quite poorly before. So all we've done, we put a reference point of some tape here, and then just got this piece of cardboard to roughly fit it, and then overlaid it some hinges as tape, and used the dirty finger technique just to find where the hinge was located. And this is where the slide thing, whatever it's called, the thing that keeps the door open, goes in and out. And one of these holes was actually blocked up with putty or something, so it wasn't being used. So what this means is that once we cut this section out, we can put this back, and I'll mark it so that it's a little more clearly, a little clearer. We can put this back and we can basically reinstate our new section in the spot where it needs to be, rather than put it in a spot where we just thought it was meant to be. This is all quite misshapen, this door, so it's going to be interesting to see just how well we go with getting this right. But And it's also, I just noticed, it's had a big bend through here. This door's actually horrible. It's had a big bend through here. I don't know, I think maybe it's been bent too far backwards and ripped the hinge off. Might have got caught on a tree or a wall or something. We'll see. We'll use it for what we can today. So I'm just taking a wild stab in the dark here, but I reckon whoever did the rust repairs on this originally was in the building game. Why do I say that? Because in here, if you look carefully, there's an extruded edge which you use for gyprocking or plasterboard setting, drywalling, whatever you want to call it. So yeah. Someone's put a bit of that in there. I like what they've done with this door. They've sort of taken the worst and made it better, because it's fabulous. I look at it this way. Anything we do can only improve on this. Funnily enough, you know, it's I'm no expert, but we're going to put metal in here. So the main objective of what Sam is trying to do here is to make it so that the door hinges properly. Now, we had a bit of a battle getting this piece out, just because it was in an awkward shape, but it came out. This is all banged in through here, so I was hoping to be able to get my hand in there to bring that out, but we've decided this might just have to live like that for the moment. We might go through some other techniques at a later date, but at the moment our focus is to get the door to hinge properly. Now what's happened is that there was some pretty rough repairs previously over the top of, obviously it had been fractured, and I'm now convinced that this door had been hyperextended, so to speak, bent way too far, because this piece of trim is the only damaged piece of trim on the whole car, and it looks like it's been caught in between the door and the mudguard, so it sort of tells me it's bent back too far, and this is a telltale sign of that. So this is snapped off. Now what seems to have been the case is that they've repaired the panel on the outside, but they didn't repair the actual damage in here, or if they did, it wasn't done very well. So this is actually this piece of metal that will flop around if I get it. It's broken here and through here. That's actually what the hinge bolts onto, and I suspect that it's a brace that goes from one end to the other to add a fair bit of strength, that it returns up here. So it is actually the part that we need to get right. So what we've decided we're going to do, we'll clean up around here a little bit, and we'll go in here, we'll clean up this, we'll actually cut away. Before we do, just on that, you can tell where it's meant to be by where it's torn away from. Now, it looks to me like this piece of metal here is down a little bit too far, or this is up a bit too far, because it overlaps, and it shouldn't be overlapping unless something has been put in afterwards, which could also be the case. Or in fact, I think this piece of metal is supposed to be behind that piece of metal, because you can see that there. So I think we're going to pop this up when the time comes. We'll pop that piece there up a bit, pop that in behind it, we'll clean it all up. So we'll try and reinstate it where it's supposed to be, clean it all up, and cut a fine line between it with whatever tool we can get in there with to give some penetration, and weld it back into place where it's meant to be. Once we've done that, we'll do some rust proofing and so on just while we're inside the door, rust conversion, and then we'll put the panel on there. Just around the corner here, I've been smashing away at this to see what's there. Looks like there's been a couple of different repairs here. That's a weld, and that's a weld, and it was all sort of concave, so it was stoved in, and it's just had this big thick layer, well to me it's a big thick layer anyway, it's about 5 mil thick of bog, and there was no treatment underneath it, so it's just rusted out more. So we'll be able to fix this, it'll be okay. We'll do it in small chunks, as with anything, just look at it in small pieces and then go through. So we'll probably replace this section through here, probably put a flange on here because it's simple, and then up here maybe do this as a second piece. As Fitzy from Fitzy's Fabrication says, don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it, do it in small pieces. The best piece of advice I've ever been given, and I will regularly share it. We're about to put a tack weld on this part through here, and what I want to show you here is if I get this screwdriver and bring this down, that wants to come back into place. So it wants to sit there. When I let the screwdriver off, it pops back out. So we're just going to put a tack weld to hold that in place where that uneven fracture is, and then once we've got that in place, then we can start welding this top part back in place, and then we can start concentrating on that crack there and this crack over here and so on. Not trying to do it all in one hit, trying to get things to pop back into where they need to be, where they're supposed to be, and then go from there. Now this piece just here, for example, looks to me like it's leaning out towards me too far, so once we put the lower part in, then we'll bang the top part in. There's actually a piece of steel missing here, so this is a thick plate behind, and this is thinner metal in front, and then obviously the actual door skin comes around through here. So once we've got this back in place somewhat and welded, then we'll go through and we'll just fill this with weld, and then we'll fill it through here. And so we're repurposing what's there, well not repurposing, we're repairing what's there, rather than removing it all. Now we can see down here, for example, that's actually separated, so we're not just going to weld that in place there, we'll actually try and bring it back together to where it needs to be and then weld it. We will run just a disc through there once we know where it goes, just to give it some penetration, but as long as nothing's interfering, because it's not like anything has to go right up in contact with any of those areas, it doesn't actually even matter if we build it up a little bit. So that's what we're about to do. So Sam has gone through and tack welded those joints back together, and now he's just going through and filling in. We ground out some of the cracks with a 1 mil grinding disc, and just to give it some penetration. It's looking good and solid. We pumped the heat up on the welder, and that way he's doing really short jabs with the welder, but it's getting good penetration. It's having the weld lay quite flat. Yeah, it's going up well.
I managed to get that hole back.
Bending the top. Yeah. Once you think it's going to hold, let me know and I'll take this away so I can block that hole. Yeah, that'll hold. good. Let's do one down there, one down the bottom. Excellent. Right, so now we just need to... The reason I'm putting this there is so that we don't get splatter into the thread of the bolt. I did put some splatter shield in there, but I don't want to have to go chasing it through. So... just put one right on the end there. You right? Yeah. Okay, I'll just block this. Other than that, just go through and finish it all up. Can I do it? Yeah. Excellent. Okay, yep, up the top there. And maybe fill that hole in. I don't need to worry about this. So Sam ground those welds down, and that internal structure that the part that the hinge actually bolts to is really solid now. It's excellent. So it was broken in about 5 or 6 different places. We made the decision to repair it rather than cut it out because we could. It was really what it came down to. There was no point in cutting it all out and redoing it all when I'm confident that we've managed to repair it strong enough to do the purpose. Sam's just going to make a cardboard template now of the piece of steel that we need, and from that then we'll cut out a piece of steel, we'll shape it, put it into the shape that we need to, and prep it and then start welding it back together. So Sam's made his template. He's just stepped away to go and do that, cut it out of some sheet metal. This is what we've got up close. So it's not perfect, but it's strong. We will spray some weld-through primer on here, or some sort of primer, just while we've got it open so that we can. I might just give it a little bit more of a clean-up, just to get rid of some of the surface rust, but Sam has done a great job cleaning up the weld. Now what I've been working on here is this abomination. So what you can see here, I'll try and zoom out a bit here. Yep. Okay, so yeah, this is what I'm working with. So you can see there's a patch in here. Looks like they've peeled the door skin back. Well, they have peeled the door skin lip back, and so there's some spot welds there. I think what I'll do, just looking at it, I'll go through and I'll just cut these spot welds off because it looks easy to do. I'll probably just need to bend the lip back, open it up a bit, and then rather than do any of this, I think I'm going to make a piece of steel that goes under the lip, up here, and around across here. Yeah, so it appears to me what they've done here, they've gone under here, but then they haven't done a cut and butt type weld or a butt weld. They've gone over the top. They haven't done it once, they've done it twice. So I don't know if it's all the same person's work, different times, what it is. But I think the only solution to this is just to rebuild. We have the technology. We can do this. So it's just a matter of where I go to along here. This metal's not good. I would like to work to this lip because it's a good place to weld to and grind off. So I might work to that lip in some places, but then in other places I might have to duck uphill and come across and around and do something funky also. So Sam's cut out a piece of steel there, 18 gauge, 1.2 mil thick approximately, from his template, and now he's just going through and he's just fine tuning its fitment, and then we'll go from there. Well, unfortunately my phone went flat. I think the last thing we were up to was Sam and I were shaping the piece of metal for this. Obviously a fair bit's happened since then. So this is all but finished. It just needs a bit more filling with the weld, a couple of holes filled, and so on, a little bit more grinding. But overall, it has come up really well. It's got this recess here where the hinge sits in. Sam has drilled the holes through here, and it's gone through. We'll give it a little bit of body fill and so on, just to make it all look good. It's not going to be perfect. The door's never going to be perfect. Now I wanted to fix this dent through here, but unfortunately there's another panel through there. This isn't going to affect anything. There's a structural panel behind there that sort of goes back on an angle, and it picks up the plates with the captive nuts for these. So I think I showed we repaired all of that and then put this panel over the top. This one didn't have anything wrong with it. Now on the bottom of the door, it was a real mess, so I've spent a bit of time just playing around with that. So I'll just grab my Cleco tool. So just before I take off my new panel, this is what came off the bottom of the door. So that was it. You can see there's a panel, there's another panel on top of it, there's body filler, rust under the body filler and so on, and this is a panel over the top of a panel, over the top of the third panel. So I presume that's the original. That's the second one, that's the third one. So yeah, good work. And on top of that there was 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 mil of body filler. So what I've got here, this is just a piece of sheet metal. In fact, this is the piece of sheet metal that was immediately next to the toxic sign that I made with the plasma cutter. That's why it's got a rough edge along the top. So I've had to stop because it's actually quite late now, and I've said it before, my neighbours are great, but I'm sure Sunday night they don't want me on the angle grinder. So what I did in the first place, and I would have liked to have shown you this, but as I said, the battery went flat. I cut a piece of sheet metal. I think it was 120 mil wide and as long as was on my sheet, which just happened to be almost exactly the same length as the door. Then I put this roll in it, and that roll is to duplicate that roll. And that roll goes underneath the seam of the door. So what I did was I cut the spot welds out and then bent this flange back with a screwdriver. What I'm trying to do is avoid damaging the underside, or the actual face of the door, and avoiding painting it at the moment. We're going to have to paint it at some point in time because there's lots of patchwork that needs doing, but it is the young guy, Sam's car, and I want him to be able to drive it. It actually looks pretty good generally. I don't want it to be a patchwork quilt the whole time he's driving it. We can repair bits and pieces as we go along. So I cut out this piece, get out that piece, then produce this piece. And just to show you how I produce this particular flange. Well, as always, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. We will be continuing along with that particular project of the rust repair on the GMC door. In our next video, we'll be moving along to the bottom of it, doing a fair bit of fabrication of some tight curves, some compound curves, a few different techniques and so on. So I hope you watch that one. And I think we'll probably get it finished in that video, but I'm not sure. There might be a further video after that. We won't get it in paint, we won't get body filler on it and all that sort of stuff, but we'll get the metal work done. So, yep, hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.